Hi, I'm Luke, and together with Arslan, Connor, and Adam, we're going to address why we deserve to stay on as your managing directors at Delta Signal. We took over the company when things weren't really that great. There was no focused corporate strategy, things were kind of all over the place. Money-wise and financial figure-wise, we looked pretty poor. Things were really, really bad. We were brought in to give Delta Signal some character, give it a distinguishing factor. And that's what we've done. We've come in, we've introduced a balanced scorecard so that we can track everything that's going on in the company and measure it by certain factors and ensure that the company has a distinguishing factor. That's the one thing that we wanted to give Delta Signal, was a sustainable competitive advantage and give it something that it's known by across the market by its consumers and its competitors. And that's what we've done. And we're going to tell you about it. Given that Delta Signal had no single corporate strategy, it was very unfocused. The first thing we did when we came in was to elect a strategy, and we went with product innovation. We felt that allowed the most potential for growth within the company, it allowed the most potential for transformation across all divisions, and it really gave us a platform to build on and take the company forward with a sustainable competitive advantage, which is what we're after, and ultimately gain some financial success. The first thing we had to do was assess our external context and assess the marketplace, assess our competitors and see where we stood and what that looked like. So the first thing we noticed is that the automotive industry has been on an upwards trend lately. A contributing factor of that is the strong US economy and the improvements that that's had lately. In general, just meaning that people are buying more cars, spending more money on cars, and the marketplace looked good. But that trend is not likely to continue. Given the increase in oil prices and everything that's going on in the world with climate change and the whole sustainability approach, that's given rise to electric cars. So companies like Tesla and now Porsche and Mercedes, Hyundai, those guys are coming up with really, really cool, innovative cars that are electric. That's an opportunity for Delta Signal. That's one thing that we did notice in our initial approach when we were assessing the external climate and condition of the market. So that's essentially why we've gone ahead and chosen product innovation. We think that electric cars and just the automotive industry as a whole is set to change quite drastically over the next few years, and we want to be ahead of the curve. We want to go ahead with a sustainable competitive advantage and run with it. As for the balanced scorecard with the financial, customer, learning and growth, and internal process aspects, we noticed that this really gave us an opportunity to allocate resources efficiently. When we came in, due to the fact that there was no real corporate strategy that was in a single direction, resources were being thrown everywhere. They didn't make much sense, and that's why our outputs were pretty inefficient and ultimately revenues and sales were quite low. What we were able to do using this balanced scorecard, as I mentioned, is really allocate the resources efficiently, and the resource reallocation was pretty much the biggest part of our job, because once we were able to focus on this product innovation path with R&D, training, just generally keeping up to scratch with patents and making sure that we reserve new technologies as our own, that's really what was a huge part of this transformation. And the balanced scorecard is really the reason for it. That pretty much covers the introduction of where we've come from and where we are now, and just a quick analysis of our external and internal environments. And I'll now hand over to finish off the rest of this presentation.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Arslan, and I'll be talking about the key issues that Delta Signal is currently challenged with, as well as discussing the changes in the industry. The main issue we are facing is a lack of direction. No one is aware where the company is heading. We need to set clear goals, apply procedures for all our staff to follow. We need to thrive in the pride of this company. Our 2012 revenues are far below 2 years ago. The material costs keep going up, and we continue to lose market share to our competitors. We have over 2,000 products and 100 separate production lines, turning everything from cut rate instrument panel switches to high-end state-of-the-art powertrain sensors. We have all invested a lot in this business, however, we're not leaders at anything at the moment. We do not have clear, concise message about our value proposition to customers, and our managers have not set clear goals for their staff to work towards. With the changes in the industry, this is something we can work towards. On the plus side, if we get organized now and get our priorities straight, I believe we can once again become industry leaders. Car manufacturers are going towards building autonomous and all-electric vehicles. This has been happening since back in the 70s. Cars were coming with autonomous features such as cruise control, ABS braking and other driving assistant packages. Guys, the future is here. Automotive vehicles have had hybrid technology for quite some time now. Elon Musk is a visionary and has produced an all-electric vehicle, which I'm pretty sure you're all aware of is Tesla. However guys, it is important to know that Tesla started off as a telecommunications company. Majority of the car manufacturers now are producing all-electric vehicles, and by 2020, all your luxury car manufacturers will have released an electric vehicle on the roads. Hyundai will be releasing an all-electric vehicle for $39,000. This shows how much the market is changing and how everyone wants to get a piece of the pie. In some Asian countries, India for example, companies such as Tata and Maruti are producing cars and selling them brand new for 3 lakhs, which is $4,000. All the companies, and this is because of the segment there, this is what the customers need. However, everyone's after electric vehicles. This is the future. All companies are moving towards change, and customers, they want electric vehicles. Dyson, as you all know, the vacuum cleaning company, had a prototype for an electric vehicle, which they just pulled the plug last week. But this goes to show how everyone is trying to get in the industry and trying to take as much share as they can. There's so many new entrances and so many new opportunities that Delta Signal can get ahead of. Governments all over the worldwide and even in the country are launching charging stations within the next couple of months. You may have already seen them as shopping centers or public car parking spaces to help those who are with the electric vehicles. Team, this is our time to make a difference. This is our time. We need to stick together and work towards achieving our targets and reach success.
Hi, I'm Connor, and I'll be going through Delta Signal's financial reports over the last 8 periods. Given Delta Signal's context outlined already, our team opted to implement a heavily innovative approach. As you can see in our balanced scorecard, we significantly favoured allocation of resources in R&D and innovation through the implementation of leading-edge technologies. This was coupled with a focus on the luxury segment in the automotive industry. For the majority of the customer metrics, the customer response to Delta Signal continued to improve as we continue to work with the momentum of our innovation strategy. These metrics are significant in maintaining sustainable competitive advantage in the luxury segment and are key in our economic growth, identified through all of our financial metrics. If we look at some of the process metrics such as MP 5, 8, 11, 12 and 14, we see substantial costings allocated to product line innovation, with each seeing growth early on before plateauing out in the final few periods. Learning and development metrics ML 2, 3, 8, 15 and 16 followed a slightly different approach, with many of these being training. There was a need initially to invest, which didn't see results until later on, at which these metrics began to plateau, freeing up these funds to be allocated into other innovation and research initiatives. Some results to be aware of is the leading edge technologies metric MP11, which saw a drop but also was able to recover. Other metrics ML8 and 16 both had bell curves and plateaued in the final few quarters. These three can all be attributed to potential new technologies entering the market, meaning for Delta Signal to maintain its position, more financial backing was required in each of these areas. As a result of this, the Six Sigma finances were reallocated as we recognise the importance to focus on our main innovation strategy, and this explains why the Six Sigma metric dropped off significantly more than the other metrics in the final few periods. As we look at the financial figures at the end of period 8, our team believes that we have significantly added to the value of Delta Signal's economic position with increased sales, significantly capitalising on our innovation strategy. We believe this has given Delta Signal a foothold into sustainable competitive advantage, along with room to grow as we continue to develop in our financial standpoint.
The next few moments of our presentation are going to strictly show some financial and statistical data. So this is essentially an overview of the way that we spent our money each period, the results that we saw each period, and finally will be a dashboard of the final results at the end of the 8 periods.
My name is Adam, and I will be discussing the two strategies available to Delta Signal, resource leveraging or market adaptation. Following this, I will be recommending which of the two should be undertaken by Delta Signal and why. Resource leveraging refers to a company improving their performance by focusing on its strengths. In the case for Delta Signal, this has been a primary issue as stated in the case study because they don't have any one particular area in which they excel. With the 2,000 distinct products and 100 separate production lines, resource leveraging will significantly trim the expansive product range and allow Delta Signal to focus on the resources necessary for the luxury car segment. Thus, if Delta Signal were to undertake this inside-out approach, it would require them to narrow down their broad experience and play to their strong suits. This will assist in providing them with a public statement on the value proposition the company offers, that being the luxury car segment, and set them up in a position for the future. Market adaptation is an outside-in approach in which a company adjusts and conforms to the demands of consumers and offers a product/service to satisfy these wants. They also adjust the current environment in regards to opportunities and threats and capitalizes and addresses these as they arise. For Delta Signal, the current opportunities are within the automotive industry and the demand for cars that reduce the harm currently being made on the environment. If Delta Signal are successful in developing technology, such as lower cost batteries for electric cars, this will prove to be a significant method in which Delta Signal not only achieve a sustainable competitive advantage, but they do it through benefiting environmental sustainability. Thus, for the next 3 years, it is strongly recommended for Delta Signal to adopt the market adaptation approach for their business level strategy. As Delta Signal are attempting to associate themselves within the luxury car segment, this approach as opposed to resource leveraging would achieve that result to a greater standard. If Delta Signal are successful in developing this type of technology, offering it to luxury car brands such as Mercedes-Benz and BMW allows them to demand a handsome price for the technology and see the company with exceptional growth. This approach would allow Delta Signal to achieve a sustainable competitive advantage. However, as other companies begin developing their own technology in the near future to outperform what Delta Signal offers, it may be best to later adopt a resource leveraging approach once Delta Signal has established themselves as a luxury car technology supplier.
So today we've walked you through exactly what we've done in our time here at Delta Signal and where we've kind of come from, where the company was when we took over, how it was a pretty unfocused strategy. It didn't have any real direction and it was just inefficiently allocating resources and things were kind of all over the place. Realistically, it was a mess. Now that we've come in, we've chosen product innovation and used the balanced scorecard as a corporate strategy and a method of metrics or a way of measuring exactly how we're going to track the changes that we've implemented in the direction that we're wanting to go. We've been able to transform this company. We've turned things around. Our sales are phenomenally increased. Our stock market price is increased as well. In general, all of the metrics that you can see on display and have seen on display throughout this video have really proven that what we've done has worked. And Delta Signal is now seen by competitors in the marketplace as well as the consumers and our customers as an innovative company that really focuses on high-end luxury automotive parts and vehicles. And as part of all of that, Delta Signal's now in a spot where we can maintain a sustainable competitive advantage. And that's why we deserve to stay on as your managing directors and management team. Thank you on behalf of Connor, Arslan and Adam, and of course myself.